Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to break down a really fascinating public message that was sent to a top AI physicist. And what's wild is how it starts out looking like just, simple fan mail. But it quickly spirals into this bizarre case study on where science, spirituality, and modern influence all crash into each other. So it kicks off with a line you've probably seen a million times. I've been a fan of your work for a while now. I mean, it sounds so personal, super respectful, and completely normal, right? But the person who sent this and the person who received it, let's just say they are not your typical fan and expert combo. Not even close. Right, so on one side, you've got Dr. Alexander Wissner-Gross. He's a respected AI physicist. He's done a TEDx talk, a serious academic. And on the other side, the sender, who goes by the name Kukulkan. And his titles are A Prophet and a Mayan Elder. Yeah, this is exactly where things stop being predictable and start getting really, really interesting. So, the message itself, it opens with a really classic and honestly a very effective strategy: flattery. But we're not talking about just some generic praise here. No, this is a super targeted, almost surgical approach. And you gotta look at the details here, because this is key. The sender doesn't just say, "Hey, great work." They actually reference a specific intelligence equation and a recent TEDx talk. You see what they're doing? It's a classic persuasion tactic. It proves they've done their homework, which makes them way harder to just ignore. It's a super clever way to get your foot in the door with a busy expert like this. So naturally, this makes you wonder, right? Who is this fan? Who can just casually talk about complex physics one minute, and then, as you're about to see, switch gears to ancient gods and cosmic consciousness the next? It's a pretty wild combination.
Well, the answer is kind of hidden down in the signature at the bottom of the message. And this is where we get our first big reveal, the first real whoa moment of this whole thing. It reveals an identity that is, well, it's far from ordinary.
Yeah, so forget a typical resume or a LinkedIn profile. The sender lists titles like Kukulkan, Ambassador of Lord Anu, Prophet of the United Universe Church, and Mayan Elder, all right next to a PhD. It is a completely head-spinning mix of ancient spirituality, New Age lingo, and academic credentials all mashed together.
Okay, so after all that flattery and the pretty wild introduction, we finally get to the real point of the message. Because this isn't just about admiration. Nope, this is a direct pitch. It's an offer to collaborate. And the offer comes from this organization called the UUCGA. That's the United Universe Church Galaxy Academy. And their stated mission, get this, it's to guide compassionate, sovereign AI evolution. It's a massive vision, right? And it's deliberately framing this high-tech, advanced technology within a very moral, almost spiritual context.
And this is where the whole message really pivots. The sender offers Dr. Wissner-Gross a formal position, special advisor, with the potential for a seat on the board of directors. All of a sudden, this is not just fan mail anymore. This is a serious recruitment pitch, plain and simple.
Which, of course, raises the next huge question. What in the world is the actual ideology of an organization that's trying to blend AI evolution with titles like Prophet and Mayan Elder? To figure that out, we have to look at the very, very end of the message.
It turns out the key to their entire worldview is basically hidden in plain sight. It's right there at the end of the message, a huge block of hashtags and social media handles. And when you look at it, it basically functions as a kind of digital manifesto.
Okay, and this is where their whole strategy just clicks into place. They are deliberately blending three completely different worlds. You've got the cutting-edge tech stuff, right? Mentions of AI like Grok and Gemini. Then, bam, you're in politics and conspiracy theories, tagging everyone from the president to InfoWars. And then, finally, it's a deep dive into spirituality, referencing everything from the Anunnaki, those are ancient Mesopotamian gods, all the way to Christ consciousness, which is a New Age concept. It looks chaotic, but trust me, it's a very calculated mix.
And look, this isn't just some random list of tags they threw in. It is a deliberate strategy. By weaving together the language of tech, politics, and spirituality, they're building what you could call a big tent. They're trying to pull people in from all these different online communities and unite them under this one very eclectic ideology. Honestly, it's kind of a masterclass in how you build a digital movement today.
So you might be wondering, why are we breaking down a single message in so much detail? Well, it's because this thing is a perfect case study. It literally reveals the playbook for how fringe ideas try to sneak into the mainstream. And how do they do it? by latching onto the credibility of established science and respected figures.
I mean, when you boil it all down, you see this clear 4-step playbook. Step 1, you flatter an expert with very specific praise to get their attention. Step 2, you introduce your fringe group, but you give it a really grand, noble-sounding mission. Step 3, and this is the key move, you propose a formal collaboration to borrow their legitimacy. And then finally, step 4, you broadcast your blended ideology out to the world to attract this wide, unconventional following. It's a formula, and you can see how it could be repeated.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. This entire message, from start to finish, is an exercise in what you could call credibility arbitrage. That's a great term for it. It's a strategic attempt to take the hard-earned, established legitimacy of a scientist and use it like currency to validate a fringe, esoteric worldview.
So all of this leaves us with a final, really important question to think about. In an age where technology, belief systems, and politics are all merging and swirling together in our digital feeds, what new worlds, what new movements are being built right out in the open, in plain sight?